Governor Shumlin's campaign kickoff rally. My running mate Kurt McCormick and I, along with our fellow legislators here tonight, are so thrilled to be kicking off Governor Shumlin's campaign because we need him to win this November. Come on, guys. So please indulge me for a second. If you are familiar with this quote, if it sounds familiar to you, raise your hand, okay? From what I understand from doctors, pregnancy from rape is very rare. And if it's a legitimate rape, a woman's body has a way of shutting those things down. Who's familiar with that quote? It's outrageous. So Congressman...
Did some frat house get kicked out for saying that?
So Congressman Todd Akin, I would love to hear him try explaining that to the 32,000 women who become pregnant as a result of rape every year. And there's Republican leaders all across the country who are turning back the clock on women's health care. And unlike Todd Akin, Governor Shumlin understands women's health and is a strong supporter of a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
I work at Planned Parenthood, and we hear from patients every day who really struggle with making ends meet, and they have to make tough choices like whether to buy groceries or fill a birth control prescription, and that is just simply unacceptable. Governor Shumlin is fighting for those women and families. Under his leadership, we created a new program in Vermont for low-income Vermonters to help them have access to full family planning services. And unlike Republicans across the country who are trying to strip access of birth control for women, Governor Shumlin is making sure that we expand access for birth control for women in this state. Unlike Republicans who are trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Governor Shumlin is paving the way for single-payer health care in this state. We need Governor Shumlin back in Montpelier, so we all need to do this together. So can I count on you, all of us, to get to work for Peter Shumlin? Can I count on you? Can I count on you to knock on doors, to make phone calls, to turn people out for Peter?
Yeah.
Can I count on you to turn out your family and your friends to make sure that they vote for Peter this November? We need to do this, okay, everyone? Introducing Burlington's Mayor, Merle Weinberger.
Well, thank you, Jill. It is great to be back on this stage, and it is a great honor to be introducing Governor Shumlin tonight. I've known Governor Shumlin since 1996. He actually was one of the first people who gave me a job when I was coming back to Vermont, looking for a role on a campaign job. Governor Shumlin was looking for an opportunity to take back the Senate. It's hard to remember a day when Democrats did not control the Vermont Senate, but it actually wasn't that long ago. There was 19 Republicans in the Senate at the time, only 11 Democrats. Governor Shumlin was a great strategist, a great thinker, saw an opportunity and had the opportunity to work with him closely over months and turn it around. So we had 18 Democrats. Like all of you, I've gotten to see Governor Shumlin over the last year and see him rise to the incredible challenge of Irene, to see him dealing with incredible budget challenges, to see him defending kale when that was necessary. And and I've had an extra window onto that for the last year, as time after time I've been in the same room and seen Governor Shumlin get up and give remarks to any number of different groups. And you know what? He always gets his remarks right. They're always spot on, whether they're funny or they're serious, whether they're dramatic. He is always exactly on. And that's because I believe he is a man of integrity, of character. He's someone who's seen adversity himself and come through it. And it is my great privilege to bring him up to the stage and to say, Governor Shumlin, Burlington was with you. We were with you in the primary. We were with you 2 years ago, and Burlington's going to be with you again on November 6th.
Thank you, Merle. Thank you, Jill Quincy, Merle Weinberg. You're getting better now. Thank you so much. And I'm so honored to be here with such a great group of friends. I got my sister Kate and her significant other Jim Abbott. Thanks for joining us. Madeline, Governor Madeline Cunard is here. I know. Where are you, Madeline? Come on, let's give it up for the governor. The real governor. Thank you, Sean. Number of statewide candidates that we need to get reelected. Attorney General Bill Sherrill is here. Thanks for joining us. Best treasurer ever to serve the state of Vermont, most qualified, Beth Pierce. Our Secretary of State, Jim Condos. Jim, thanks for joining us. Is Doug here? Hoffer? Yes. And our Auditor of Accounts to be Doug Hoffer. Yes. And our Democratic candidate for Lieutenant Governor, Cass Geekas. Cassie, give it up for Cassie. And the many legislative, Senate, and House candidates that are here, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, just a quick few words to all the friends that are gathered here. It has been the most extraordinary privilege of my lifetime. I forgot a very important credit to give before I do that. Where is our friend Chris Walsh? Chris, let's give it up for Nectars, who put this whole thing together. Thank you. I almost forgot. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to the Nectars team. We appreciate it. It has been the most extraordinary privilege of my life to serve as governor of the state of Vermont. There is no better elected job in America. I can tell you how grateful I am for the hard work that you've done to make the change that we're bringing to Vermont possible. We are doing things that no other politician or government has the courage to do. And the result is simple. We're growing jobs. We're delivering on promises to get tough things done. And we are making extraordinary progress to make this state a better place to get a job, a better place to make a living, and a better place for our kids to prosper. That's because of your hard work. Thank you. Here's the good news story. This is the progress that we've made in the last 2 years. Here's the evidence. Vermont currently enjoys the 5th lowest unemployment rate in America. We have added 7,500 new jobs in the state of Vermont since we got elected 2 years ago. More green, high-tech jobs per capita than any other state in the country. We are making progress. We're on the right track. When I came into office 2 years ago, people running companies, our employers, were looking down at their boots, saying to me, Governor, I think I'm going to have to do another layoff. I think we may have to do more bad news. Today, the employers tell me, Governor, I can't find enough employees who are trained to do the work for the jobs I have available. That's a much easier problem to solve, and we're solving it together. That's progress, that's jobs, that's prosperity, that's result. I want to mention 5 reasons why we've made the progress we have, why we've made the tough decisions to get things done that we've been able to accomplish, and why I am begging Vermonters for another 2 years to finish the work that we've begun. First of all, we have matched Montpelier's appetite for spending with Vermonters' ability to pay. Together, we managed and balanced 2 more difficult budgets, deficit budgets, without raising broad-based taxes on hardworking Vermonters when they were having trouble enough paying their bills. That's progress. That's important. Democrats are fiscally responsible. We prove it time and time again. We have one of the best credit ratings in America, lowest debt per ratio per capita in the country. Good work, more good work to do. We also promised that we would get tough things done to grow jobs and economic opportunities. I want to give you a progress report on connectivity. Vermont, when I took office, was behind Bosnia. behind Croatia, behind Vietnam, behind most of the 49 states in the ability to actually have that thing called the internet work. It's that simple. 2 years later, we've connected all but 16,000 Vermont households, and we will deliver on the promise of universal high-speed broadband to every last mile of Vermont by the end of 2013. We're on track, and we're going to make it. That's jobs and that's economic prosperity. 2, we are delivering on the most thoughtful, single-payer, publicly financed healthcare system in America, where healthcare is a right and not a privilege, where it follows the individual and isn't required by the employer, and where everyone has quality healthcare while spending less money. That's critical. Third, we cannot win on a jobs front unless Vermont is the best education state in the nation. So what did we do? First week in office, lifted the cap on early childhood education so that every kid in Vermont has access to a great start in education by accessing the best early education programs in the nation, bar none. That's making a difference. 2, from early childhood education to higher education to workforce retraining to making both our state colleges and UVM more affordable, we are making great progress. We have more work to do. 4th, in terms of our extraordinary ability to conquer real challenges, I remind you that as governor, in addition to growing jobs, we've managed 4 climate change-induced storms. The blizzards of a year ago, February, biggest blizzard ever recorded in a snow state. Biggest blizzard for Vermont ever recorded. 2, the floods of April, the floods of May, the floods of August when Irene hit. Highest lake levels ever recorded on Lake Champlain. The great thing about Vermonters is we recognize the source of the problem and we come together to solve that problem. What did we do? We pulled together, pulled ourselves up in our time of crisis, and rebuilt this state better than the way Irene found us. And second, we recommitted ourselves to getting off our addiction to oil, to reducing our carbon footprint, to making a better contribution to a healthier climate for our kids and our grandkids' future by building renewables, harnessing the sun and the wind, our streams, our forests, and our fields to ensure that we lead in small, renewable generated power and energy efficiency. We will be the example for the other 49 states to follow. We'll get the jobs, we'll get the economic opportunity. Clearly, we have more work to do. And while we have made great progress on a jobs front, I want to make very clear that having the 5th lowest unemployment rate in America isn't good enough. Is not good enough. We are just warming up. Our challenge remains that we have too many Vermonters who are often making the choice, tough choices, because their incomes haven't risen in a decade and they're working 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 jobs to make ends meet. We are going to continue, if given the opportunity, to focus on jobs and economic opportunities by solving real problems, doing things that other governors and the government in Washington may never do, actually delivering on the issues that are going to make us more prosperous. I want to talk about health care for a minute. Listen, we all know as Vermonters, with our hearts, that we have 45,000 uninsured Vermonters. Vermonters who wake up every day knowing that if they get sick, they're in huge financial trouble. Knowing that if they avoid preventative care, they won't have to face the fact that they can't pay the bill and therefore wait until they have catastrophic care before they get the health care they deserve. Second problem, we know that we have 160,000 underinsured Vermonters. Vermonters who, if they really get sick, know that the gap between their insurance coverage, which is growing to double-digit numbers, will not help them out, and they will face bankruptcy to pay their medical bills. As Vermonters who care about each other and take care of each other, we know that healthcare is a basic right. It brings dignity to each and every one of us. It brings hope and a great future to each and every one of us. That's not acceptable. Let's be the leader in turning that system back and moving to a system that the rest of the world enjoys, where healthcare is a right and not a privilege. Now I ask you for a minute to depart from your heart, to leave it aside for a second, and do with me what Bill Clinton might ask you to do if he were here. Let's do some simple arithmetic. Because as you know, I am a business person. I am a governor who governs mostly because of arithmetic. Let's do the simple math on healthcare. We acknowledge that we are a state who, on average, we are earning the same money we're making a decade ago. This is how the math works. If healthcare costs continue to rise between now and 2015, 3 years, the next 3 years, at the same rate that they did for the last 10 years, Vermonters will be spending $2,500 every single year by 2015 on healthcare that we're not spending today. Here's a second mathematical fact. When it comes to Vermonters who have jobs, working Vermonters, that's $4,700 per working Vermonter that we'll be spending on healthcare in 3 years that we're not spending today. Put more simply, we spend $5 billion today on healthcare. By 2020, 8 years from now at current rates of growth, we'll be spending $10 billion on healthcare. I ask you a simple mathematical question. Where do we think that that money is going to come from? So when folks tell you, when skeptics tell you, you know, Governor, this plan of yours, it's ambitious, and what I don't know scares me, I say simply this, and I ask you to join me this fall. Vermonters, we are smart, we're independent, we can add. What we know must scare us. We must come up with a system that doesn't bankrupt our businesses, kick the middle class in the teeth, and make health care unaffordable for every single Vermonter. That's the course we're on, and we've got a better plan. We can do that together, and when we do, trust me, the other states will follow. 8 weeks till Election Day, we're looking forward to a spirited campaign. I have a lot of respect for my opponent. Let's make it a discussion about the issues. Now, I just want to point out that my opponent did come up with a little health care plan while I was away at the convention. And I certainly want to be generous in simply saying this. I read it once. I read it twice. I had to read it a third time, because I'm a slow learner, to understand what it was saying. Make no mistake about it, here is the plan. When Governor Kunin was kind enough to appoint me to the Vermont House, I came in, and she shortly thereafter retired. Governor Shumling came in. I was put on the Health and Welfare Committee. Republican Governor Richard Shumling, 21 years ago, had the vision before he passed away, as his last major public policy piece before his death, to pass community rating in Vermont. What it said was very simple. Governor Shumling, the Republican governor, wanted to solve a terrible problem for the Vermont healthcare system. What he wanted to solve was the problem where for-profit, greedy insurance companies would come into the state and say to people who were old, who were sick, who were disabled, or who had a pre-existing condition, you will pay 300 times more than young, healthy people for insurance in Vermont. Now, that made a lot of sense because, frankly, the young, healthy people really didn't need the health insurance in the first place. It was the older, the sicker, the folks with pre-existing conditions that actually needed to get better. And they couldn't afford health insurance because they were getting charged 300% more. So this radical Republican governor had an idea. We can fix this together. And he did, and we did. And guess what? Just like the path we're charting for health care, all of the other New England states saw what Republican Governor Dick Snelling had done, and they joined him. Some slowly, but even New Hampshire joined him. My opponent wants to take us back to repeal community rating. Let me be clear. What that means is, if you're older, if you're sick, if you've had a pre-existing condition, if you've successfully battled breast cancer and you're a survivor, 300% up on your next health care premium at a time when Vermonters can't afford health care as it is. I asked you for the logic in the plan. It's cold-hearted. It's wrong. Governor Snelling would say, do not take us backwards, Vermont Republican Party. Move forward with a better plan. We've got the better plan. Now, there's a second part of the plan that I had to read 4 times. It's called medical tourism. Now, I'm not making this up, but I know we're here together and we wanted to enjoy ourselves tonight. I want to explain medical tourism because I had to have it explained to me even after I read it. This is medical tourism. My opponent has proposed that we promote medical tourism to solve our healthcare problems. Oh, this isn't a laughing matter. This is true. This is how medical tourism works. You say to people all over the world, Vermont's a great place to visit. When you really get sick, come here for your surgery and use one of our resorts to recover. Seriously. This is healthcare reform, folks. This is the plan. I mean, last time I checked, I'm from a resort community. I was born and raised in Windham County. We've got Mount Snow. We got Stratton. We got Bromley. We got Haystack. 4 things I can tell you about those 4 resorts. Far from any hospital. This is the plan, team. Our salvation, medical tourism. Here's my point. Let's have an engaging debate about the issues that Vermont faces. What I ask Vermonters tonight is to really think carefully about this election. We are getting tough things done. We are doing things that other politicians might not touch. If we succeed, which we will, if you'll give us another 24 months at the job, we will continue to grow jobs, we'll continue to grow economic opportunities, and we will leave this state more prosperous and a better place for your kids and my daughters to make a great living and prosper in the future. That's what this administration's about. That's what our mission's about. We can do it together. We don't need medical tourism to accomplish it. We don't need to move back 21 years to pre-Dick Snelling years. Let's do it together. Keep moving forward to get the job done that we need to do. Number 1 job, have the courage of your convictions to make changes that other people won't so that our kids can prosper, so we can prosper, so we can have a better economic future. We're on track. We're getting results. Vermonters, give us 2 more years to continue to deliver more good news, more prosperous times for Vermont's future. Thank you so much for joining us.